Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Dee. Today we're going to learn how to make a cube using a paper net. A net is a kind of flat pattern that you can fold and make geometric shapes. In this case, our cube today. So let's get started. To create your net, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need graph paper, a second piece of paper. It can be plain, construction, printed paper, just a second piece. You need to have a glue stick. This is the one I'll be using today. Just typical Elmer's glue stick, some scissors, a pencil to draw with, a marker if you like your lines a little darker or a different color, and an eraser in case you make any mistakes. So the first thing you see here is that I have drawn, I'm just gonna move this second piece out of the way. I have drawn my net for the cube. I'm just gonna go over it again with markers so you can see my lines more clearly. Remembering that a cube is a three-dimensional shape, you're going to need 6 faces. And since it is a cube, that means that all of your faces need to be squares. That means that the length and the width need to be equal for all of your faces. So here you can see I used 4 of the smaller squares on my grid paper to make my square, my larger square. So just going over my lines again, 1, 2, 3, 4 across, okay? And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down, okay? And then I close off my shape. And I'm going to call this square number 1, okay, just to keep track of what I'm doing. The one beneath, number 2, will have the same measurement, okay, so I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 going down, and 1, 2, 3, 4 going across. And then I'll close off the shape. Number 3, same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4 going down, 1, 2, 3, and 4 going across. Close off the shape. Label that square 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close off the shape. And that is my 4th square. Now, the 5th and 6th squares are going to be on the sides of number 2, okay? Almost like arms. So they're still going to have 4 across and 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4 going across. 1, 2, 3, 4 going down. Close off the shape. That's 5. And for square 6, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 going down. Close off the shape and label that 6. Now, what I will need to do next is to create tabs. Now, some people find it easy to build their cube without using tabs, just having this basic net, but I prefer to draw some tabs on to make my life easier when I'm folding. And what helps is to draw your tabs at an angle, okay? It just makes your life easier. It helps it to go inside of the shape once you start to fold. And actually, I will put some little marks here so you can see them clearly, okay? So they're angled. So on the top of 1, on the side of 5. And there are many ways that you can do tabs. Sometimes I will draw tabs all the way around numbers 5 and 6, but depending on your time and your comfort level with creating your cube, you could make more or less tabs. And like I said, some people prefer not to use the tabs at all. Okay, and then on the bottom of 4, notice that I'm always angling in. Okay, so the tabs are always at an angle. And next thing I'm going to do is to cut this shape out. So with my scissors, I'm going to take my time to cut. Try and keep in mind that I don't want to have extra paper outside. So I'm trying to cut on my line as close as possible. Okay, notice that I'm cutting on that angle. I really want those tabs to have angles. So take your time while you're cutting. It's not a race. This is one where you really, it actually makes your life easier if you take your time cutting. Okay. Oops. Excuse me there. I'm stuck my camera over. Okay, so I'm nearly there. So I'm thinking about now what paper I want to have on the other side. And you'll see in a moment what I mean. Okay, so now that I have this net cut out, okay, my basic net, what I'm going to do is to actually paste it onto another piece of paper. Now, you can use any kind of paper, like I said before. I'm just going to use this, this regular computer paper. It's soft, it's easy to fold, okay? So I'm just going to use this paper. I'm going to put glue with my glue stick on the back really quickly. You see that glue's already starting to dry. When it dries, it goes from purple to clear. So I have to work a little bit faster. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. All right. And the glue will get on your fingers. It's okay. Now, when I'm placing it onto my second piece of paper, I like to put it on the edge so then I have less to cut for my second cut. So I like to place it on the edge, at the top, and on the side. Oops. Okay, I don't want to have bubbles, so smooth that down. Try not to have any bubbles if you can help it. Okay, maybe a little bit more here because I don't want the papers to be separated. That's the whole point of gluing it down. A little bit here. Oops, yikes. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is to cut my shape again. Okay, so that will reinforce my net, okay, making it stronger because the paper will be doubled. And you can't really see the grids on the other side. So this will actually be the outside of my cube. Okay, so I'm going to cut around it second time. Again, trying to cut on the line as close as possible. Okay. Nope, not yet. A little more. There we go. Can you clean this up a little bit? Making sure to cut your tabs on an angle. Now I see that the papers are separating, so put a little more glue. Okay, that'll be all right. So I always make sure to remind people to screw down your glue stick before you put the cap back on. You'd be surprised how many people just put that cap on there and then they end up with the glue all gummed up in there, which is not what you want to do. Okay. Okay. Almost done. Okay, so now we get to folding. So what I'm going to do is start first with this tab on the top of one and fold it down. You're folding it inwards, okay? So here is actually a time where some people prefer to see the grid lines. So they flip it over this way, but I want this to be the outside of my cube. So I'm going to leave my tabs going towards my numbers, okay? And I crease it down to make sure that it's flat and it will stay, okay? Then I do the same thing for the side of 5. Okay, folding it down. Just take your time with this. Make sure it's on the line. Crease it with your finger. Okay, the side, or actually I'll do the bottom of 4. Just go all the way around it. And let's see here. That looks good. Okay. Oop, so I have a little separation. That's no bueno. So I'm going to put a little more glue. I don't want lumps. Okay. Here. Separating so much usually doesn't separate that much. I mean, at the end of the day, it will be on the inside anyway, but why not do it right the first time? Lesson for life. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is fold my numbers in towards number 2. So number 1, the tab is already folded down. I'm going to fold 1 into 2, almost as if it's nodding yes, or putting the head towards the belly. Then I let it go. Number 5 is going to go in towards 2, almost like if you remember when people used to dab. Okay. Then let it go. 6 will go into 2. Okay. Then let it go. Now you see here, 4 and 3 are going to be a little different. So 4 is actually going into 3 first. Crease that down, and then put 3 and 4 into 2 so that it looks like this. Okay, crease that down. So now I can get into the part of putting glue and maybe a bit of tape, depending on how well this glue lasts me. Okay, so I'm putting glue on the top of the tabs. Don't worry, you will get glue in your fingers, like I said before. Okay. On the top of this tab and the top of this tab here. So I have glue on top of all of my tabs, and now I'm gonna start to fold it in. Get my cube. Let's see. So I'm going to just mold with my fingers, almost like cupping it together. Actually, move this one out the way a little bit, because I want this one to come over the top. See, like so. It's coming together. Maybe I'll flip this tab out a little bit. There we go. So I want the glue to touch the top. Okay, this one here, see that glue dries so quickly. And just flip that a little bit. Okay, so here is where some tape will come in handy. Okay, so you can use, clear tape like Scotch tape. I'm actually going to use, so you can see where I'm putting the tape, just some blue tape here. And since you don't want to have your shape filled with gobs of glue, you can just cut down the tape. Like if you can see here, I'm cutting the tape down just to make a little sliver, just to close it off. So the glue stick does help, the glue stick does help to hold the shape, but why not have tape just to close it off? I mean, I could hold it with my fingers if I have all day to do that sort of thing. Let's flip this around. But I think I'll just put this little bit right here. And then if I don't want my cube to buckle, then I can put other little pieces of tape. So I'll do that now just quickly. Just to hold it together a little bit more. Okay. If I was really nitpicky about it, I could put a little piece of tape here and here, but just mold it, just pinch it with my fingers a little bit. Oops. There we go. And maybe here. So again, if you don't want the glue to show, just use a little bit. I mean, if you don't want the tape to show, use a little bit of magic tape, because not only does it work well as tape, you can also draw on top of it. Maybe a little piece here. Okay, and voila, you have your cube, your paper cube made from your net.